In this segment, I want to show you a couple of additional CSS style rules that can be used to adjust the appearance of your text.
This video is brought to you by OppiePie's Academy.
I've already got this document set up from the previous videos. Here we've got our traditional English ballad, Scarborough Fair, and we've already made some adjustments to the appearance, such as the color, the font weight, and the font family. So the first rule that I'm going to show you here is one that I don't think many people know about, but I really like to use. It's called font variant. And what font variant lets you do is choose a small caps variation of the text. So here on the H1, which is the text that says Scarborough Fair, I've set the font variant to small caps. Let's go ahead and save. And then refresh our browser and you'll see exactly what small caps looks like. There we go. So in small caps, uppercase letters are rendered normally. Lowercase letters are rendered as smaller versions of the uppercase letters. So lowercase letters aren't displayed. I think this is a fairly interesting effect to use for headlines and other types of display text. All right, so that's font variant. Now we also can set what's called in traditional typography the leading. The leading is how tightly or loosely the lines are placed together. So this is our standard here. You can see how the lines are placed together like this, and that's fairly readable. But we can loosen that up by using the line height rule, line hyphen height. And then if we set that to, for example, 2M, we're going to loosen the line height to double what's normal. So now we've got what you might call double spacing with the individual lines. Now we can set line height down to, if I set like, for example, 0.25M, watch what happens. We've saved, we're going to refresh. See how all the text is kind of squished together like that? I really can't think of any instance where you'd want to do that, but it is possible with line height. You can also set fractional line height. So if you want it just a little bit looser than normal, for example, you could set 1.25M, which would be 125% of normal. The M scale for line height works the same way it does in font size. So that's a little bit looser than normal. If we set to 1M, that's actually the default. So 1M looks like that. So that's kind of the single line spacing. So that is a good way to adjust kind of how tightly or loosely the lines are placed together. It's also good for copy fitting, where if you have to have your copy or your text within a very specific amount of space. Line height is one of the controls you have to adjust the amount of space. Let's do one more that I think is also kind of interesting, and that's text decoration. I'm going to go ahead and put the text decoration on H1. So text decoration, like that, lets us set various properties of the decoration of the text. The two ones that you would use are underline and overline. So there's the underline, and here's the overline. And I'm saving, by the way, by hitting Command S. If you're using a PC, it'd be Control S. Just a shortcut from going File, Save each time, and then we'll refresh in the browser, and we get an overline. So I try and avoid using underlines too much because a lot of users would think this is a link, and they try and click it like that, but there's no link there, so they think, oh, something's wrong with the web page. So make sure that you're fairly careful about using underlines and where you use them. Overlines are just, I think, a neat effect that you can use simply for the visual appearance of it. I don't think there's a real function to an overline in an HTML document. All right, there you have it. So we've gone over font variant and set small caps. We went over line height to adjust the typographical leading of the text. And finally, text decoration, overline or underline.